Hey, good evening, everybody. DCL podcast fans, Mouse Gen fans. Welcome to our October recap. And we've got another guest with us today. But before we bring him in or introduce him, but everybody already knows who he is. Let's go down to Tampa first. And how you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing good. The intro jingle, I'm like Chris dancing to it. I'm usually listening to it in the car line when I pick up Henry.
And joining us this week, kind of last minute throwing this together, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about some Run Disney. We were lucky to be on Lake Show. As he kind of recap or set up Wine and Dine weekend. You guys just experienced Wine and Dine weekend, so I was like, let's bring Lake on tonight. We'll talk about what you guys experienced. How you doing tonight, Lake? Thanks for jumping on late and last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Excited to talk Run Disney because it's back. It's official. It's happened.
We got the shirts on, Lake.
We do. Yep.
There we go.
I love it. You guys, I didn't get to see a lot. I was like flying all weekend, so I didn't get to really follow along as much. But I saw some of you guys' pictures, and it looked like, other than the wet time and the first couple of races, Sunday looked like a great day.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you who else was flying. That guy right there. He's fast.
Yeah, he and Katie killed it, is what I heard. So
yes.
All right, well, let's jump into our DCL news recap for October. We touched on a little bit of October and September, so not quite as many shows, but pretty big story to start with. Steve, why don't you kick us off with story number one?
Okay, so this is a story that's not necessarily a news break, but Disney's going to take up space over there in Port Everglades in Terminal 4. It's looking like they have a tentative substantial completion date for the remodeling for October 15th, 2023, with a final completion date of November 30th, 2023. Disney's going to share some of these costs. It looks like it's $2 million renovation for berth number 4 and $12 million for the terminal. They're going to share about 50% of those costs. Just a couple highlights that were interesting. It looks like there's going to be a creation of a concierge lounge. Chris and the concierge, if you're listening. There will be.
He's on Castaway Key right now. Actually, he's
on the
really?
Fantasy
right now.
Yeah, on a cabana. Of course,
yeah,
of course he is.
Yeah.
What a life, my friend. Yeah, they're going to create a concierge lounge at the port. So I think that this is another, perhaps a trend or something that's already happening, that you're going to have a little bit more of that experience that's happening at the port. Although, obviously, as we've seen with COVID, you're not spending much time in there whatsoever now, and kind of fast tracking through that. But I'm sure that'll change. So it looks like they're guaranteeing in the first fiscal year about 400,000 passengers. For fiscal year 2, 450,000, and then upwards of 750,000. It'll be one ship there, Magic Class ship or Dream Class ship, it looks like, with the opportunity to get to a second ship as well. So start your speculation on what's going to be there. I think Steve just informed me that looks like it'll start out with 3 and 4 night sailings at the moment. So again, this is a pretty lengthy structural change and overview and accommodating for the future ships, which Disney still has an additional 2 coming online after the Wish, and they definitely need some homes for their ships. So pretty exciting stuff. We'll see what's to come, and you could probably speculate now on what's going to happen there.
Have you guys sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, out of Port Everglades yet?
Nope.
I haven't. My mom just did. She's on the Odyssey of the Seas on Royal. She said there are 900 people on it right now.
Wow.
I think that ship holds like 6,000. Yeah,
that's crazy.
She said it's kind of eerily empty at the moment. So, yeah, she really. I'll just tell you, she really likes Fort Lauderdale. She prefers it to Miami, which I haven't been to Fort Lauderdale, and I could probably already tell you I prefer it to Miami's port. Miami's port's very chaotic to me, but exciting stuff.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit smaller, maybe easier to get to than Miami in some ways. I mean, you can get there either way from Miami or flying into Fort Lauderdale. I do wonder, though, because they're going to do 3 and 4 night sailings. That works good out of Port Canaveral for all the people that come to Disney World and then want to go over and do a cruise. I wonder how well that's going to translate for people that are coming into Orlando and then going down to Fort Lauderdale to kind of do the same thing. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, Steve, have you ever flown into Fort Lauderdale?
Only twice.
Okay. pretty big international hub, I'd say, right? So you do get a lot of passengers that come in and flying in that area. Obviously, tourism in South Florida. But local population not going to sustain, Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. So we'll see. You'll see, put a DVC resort over there or something like that. I don't know. What kind of magnet do we need to get over there,
Right.
So
how about you, Lake? Would you and Katie contemplate driving down to Fort Lauderdale to do a cruise versus going to Port Canaveral?
I don't know about a 3 or 4 night, to be honest. We are doing a 5 night out of Miami in February, so that seemed worth it to us. But I don't know, 3 or 4 night when you could just drive over to Port Canaveral for a similar product.
Only caveat though is if they wouldn't put. I don't think they would put one of their newer ships there initially. And this is what I mentioned to you before, Steve. So this is slated to start just by 2025. They're going to get a second ship in there potentially, right?
Yes.
So that would be about 3 years after the launch of the Wish. Would they reposition already the Wish over to to Fort Lauderdale, and while they're building their other ship? Because I think the other ship is set to come online 2025, right?
Yeah, it got pushed back. I don't think they're going to move the Wish at anytime soon. It
Right.
would start with like either the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, or the Fantasy down there. But I do wonder about the 3 and 4 nights. Chad says he loves flying into Fort Lauderdale and he's happy about this. So I think it's a great idea. But you know what I'm kind of wondering? Maybe the prices will drop for some of those cruises out of there, and maybe that'll be an enticement to get down there. But probably not with Disney.
Yeah, I wonder what the capacity is like, for the Magic out of Miami. I wonder what the market is there, during quote unquote normal times.
Right.
I
It's
guess
it's pretty big because our airline actually switched out of Miami when Miami raised their prices, and really from the West Coast, the majority of people going to Miami are not going there to go to Miami. I mean, there are some business, but most people are cruising. It was a huge cruise market, and so switching over to Fort Lauderdale was huge for us because that's where everybody was kind of going anyways. Chad makes a good point. Does Fort Lauderdale have an LNG infrastructure? They don't. Only right now Port Canaveral does, and they don't even have it technically in some ways because they have to bunker the fuel all the way down from South Carolina. So it's to be determined. They'd have to build that up. All right, we can speculate a bunch. Any other thoughts on that, or should we move on to story number 2?
Story number 2.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut it off there. I feel like I just cut that off.
No, you're all good.
All right,
what
Blake,
you're
what
supposed
did you
to
take
do
the
as
next
the
one?
host. All right,
Blake, let's go to story
Disney
number 2.
Cruise Line opens a Disney Wish exhibit located in Hollywood Studios. So this is located in the Walt Disney Presents attraction, the kind of walkthrough area where you go through the history of Walt Disney himself. And then in the back, they always have some sort of exhibit of upcoming attractions and whatnot. That's where the Galaxy's Edge model used to be. And now this area was taken over to be a Disney Wish exhibit. So some of the features of this is going to include some fleet history. They're going to have basically the life-size statue of Cinderella in there. So the Grand Hall of the Wish there. You're going to see a detailed 5.5-foot scale of the ship, which is pretty cool, especially if you can get decently close to that and kind of see some of the details that we are expecting in that. As well, it looks like they're going to have some other kind of items and replicas that you're expected to find in 1923, which is, I guess, going to be their more upscaled restaurant for the rotational dining. Sorry. Let's see.
Oh, you're doing awesome, Blake. We threw you into this at the last minute. So.
A couple other features includes a scale model of the stern statue of Rapunzel, and some concept art there, and then promises for more sneak peeks in the future out of this exhibit.
Have you guys been there to see it yet, Blake?
I haven't, no.
Steve?
I have not. No, I haven't been in Hollywood Studios in a minute.
So if anybody's been there and has some pictures, we'd love to post them up on our Facebook page. So if anybody's going to Hollywood Studios anytime soon and can get some photos of what people can expect there. We don't want to ruin all the magic, but if you get just a couple, we'll throw it up there just so people can see it. So I think I like it when they do this kind of. I love the history part too, that they're going to throw a little history of the cruise line. So anything that can get people excited about going on the Wish is kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. I've seen pictures of the exhibit. I've zoomed in and studied a little bit. Let me see what I can find in here.
You're trying to
But yeah,
find your cabin already.
exactly. Yeah, right. Where I just keep looking at the big tower concierge rooms that are going to be.
Yeah. You can't see mine. Mine's down there in the basement where the where the brooms are that hang out with Sorcerer Mickey. So I'll never be able to see mine. It's on the inside. So yeah, Lake, any thoughts about these type of exhibits? Do you usually go back and see these? It sounds like you went to the Star Wars one.
I usually do, and I just honestly haven't gotten to Hollywood Studios in a while. Funny enough, my sister works there in Hollywood Studios, so I really should go and see it. I don't know. I just, other than for Wine and Dine weekend, I think I knew that was coming up, so I hadn't been to the parks in a while. But I might try to go out of my way and get over there sometime soon to see that.
Cool. All right, story number 3. Let's head up to New York, Steve, your old stomping grounds.
My place of birth. The Disney Wish float will set sail this Thanksgiving in New York. Of course, on Thanksgiving Day. The float's going to be called Magic Meets the Sea. And it will be going down 34th Street, or I believe it ends at 34th Street. And there's going to be 15 Disney characters. Captain Minnie will be there. Shout out to Chris Bright. Princess Tiana, Aladdin, Jasmine, Cinderella, and Steve's favorite character, and arguably one of the best and most beloved Disney characters, the Hatbox Ghost, will also be aboard the float. So tune in on Thanksgiving Day between 9 and 12 to catch the float. That's pretty cool. They should also be doing, like, I'm thinking of Christy here, like a giveaway, like win a cruise. You know what I mean? Like as the float's going down, you may text like a number, text this number to be entered into right? Disney, if you're listening. But yeah, that should be fun. They're really just pumping this up, right? Marketing.
Marketing. Yeah, that was kind of a joke on the Hatbox Ghost. I don't anticipate seeing the Hatbox Ghost on there.
What if they threw in like the obscure characters that are at all the after hours events, and people are like, I have no idea.
Yeah, like you're pretty good with the characters. What obscure character would you want to see gracing the Wish as she sailed down 34th Street in New York?
Oh,
who doesn't get a lot of love?
Obscure. Oh, I don't know about
there
obscure,
was a bunch this weekend,
but oh yeah, there was great ones this weekend. We'll get to that. I was very pleased with that. I don't know. I mean, I think anyone that you could think of that was like kind of sailboatish or sailing, like if you had Steamboat Willie Mickey up on it, that'd be kind of cool,
right? Just doing the deep dives, the deep cuts.
Yeah. Also, we should mention too that along with that, they're doing Jordan Fisher's doing like an official Disney Cruise Line song for the Macy's Day Parade with this float.
Yes. And if you didn't know, Jordan Fisher wrote the Happily Ever, or sung the Happily, I don't know if he wrote it, Happily Ever After Fireworks theme song, which is now dead.
Defunct.
Unfortunately. Have you seen it, Chandler?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh my God, we're so bad. I haven't seen it
either. No. Yeah, I forgot to put that in there. Yeah, he's doing some theme song. Has it already been released, or are they gonna release?
No, I think it's gonna debut at the parade. Like that's gonna be the show part of it.
Okay. Well, it's kind of exciting. I was listening to another podcast. I was listening to the DCL dude. He was talking to Chris and the concierge, and he said that there's mirrors. I guess the portholes are like mirrors in the shape of Mickey heads, and so that as you look at it as it goes by, you can see yourself on a Disney cruise.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
There's some more marketing for you, Steve.
Yeah. Was anybody paying attention or a fan when they were building and making the fantasy and the dream? I just was curious about what the run up. We should probably look at that, like what the marketing was when they were building those ships. Because I feel like right now it's like, and of course, we're in a completely different age of YouTube and social media than we were in, say, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed in a decade. But, I love like the little YouTube clips. We're going to get to the next news story here, which is a segue to the item that you're going to cover, Steve. But, they're kind of giving you little bits and pieces after they did that big grand reveal. But, of course, they left a lot out of that. And I really appreciated the way they've been doing things. It's been nice. It's a little anticipation.
Yeah, little bits of news here and there to kind of keep the excitement alive as they kind of go towards its launch. So,
Speaking of,
do you guys watch the Thanksgiving Day parade? It's something that I think we used to, but I haven't watched it in years, to be completely honest.
uh, my wife used to live right off the route,
Mhm.
and so she just loves seeing Central Park West and going down that side of Manhattan. And we usually will put it on like on mute, like when we're making Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. We just
Kind of in the background.
Yeah. You could always have like a lot of fun little Broadway features and stuff like that. So, and of course, last year it was on hiatus, right?
Right.
So it would be nice.
Like, do you guys watch it, or is that something that's ever been part of your tradition?
When I was younger, we did, yeah, but I mean, we don't even have cable anymore now, so
who watches network TV? I don't know.
Right? I don't even know how to access it. That's a good point.
I'm sure it ends up on YouTube or Twitch
Yeah.
or something nowadays.
Yeah, you could probably stream it live off of NBC's website and then
Yeah.
cast it to your TV.
Lake's watching on a Twitch. I like that. All right, let's move into another controversial topic. Almost as controversial as taking the dining rotation off your Key to the World card. But when this story came out, there was a lot of hate on the internet for some reason, and I'm not sure exactly why. But the incredible obstacle course is coming to the Disney Wish. Did you guys see this? Did you guys hear any of the heat?
I did not see a bad reaction. Did you see a bad reaction?
I saw a couple, like, people were.
I did, and I thought for the most part everyone was just happy that they were gonna do something with the sports deck.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people like, really, I'm gonna pay this much money and I get a blow up thing that I could go to a kid's birthday party to. But okay,
Those are expensive.
Yeah. To be honest, the Hero Zone is something that's kind of I glossed over. I didn't really pay attention to it. The Chad, this is controversial. The Hero Zone is located on Deck 12, which is the main pool deck of the Disney Wish. It's a futuristic sports arena, so it's indoors versus outdoors right now, where they've got the basketball court, and it looks pretty cool because they've got tech associated with it. So not only is it going to be a place where you can go and play soccer, basketball, they've got foosball set up there when things aren't going on, but they've got some tech stuff associated with it as well, so they can kind of play with it. And then there's like a second story to it, so it's actually 2 stories. So there's like an area up above, so you can look down. But with the Incredibles obstacle course coming, it looks like it's kind of those blow up sort of things that they do have at different like the school carnivals and stuff. But coming to the Hero Zone will be the Incredible Games area inspired by Pixar. These temporary blow up obstacle courses will offer challenges themed after the powers of the film superheroes. Some of the games will include Mr. Incredible's Power Punch, Jack Jack's Whack-A-Rack, which that part of the movie when Jack Jack and the raccoon go after it, man, I love that part. Elastigirl's Stretch-O-Rama, Dash's Mad Dash Mayhem, Violet's Force Field Swing, Frozone's Ice Slide, and back by popular demand, and I think that we've all seen this at one point, is Jack Jack's Diaper Dash. Have you guys seen that before?
People love it. People absolutely love it. We showed up late one time. We're going to enter my son. My kids have literally been going since they've been in diapers, but people love it. I almost feel like this entire idea was spawned off of just the Diaper Dash and how popular it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because anything else that you can get, like, families or groups together where you can kind of interact and have a little bit of fun like this. And it's going to be hosted. So they're going to be hosts that are kind of leading it in a game show style with music, special effects. Maybe you'll get a winner medal. I don't know. Maybe they'll up their game and get something different besides the winner medals. But I kind of like this. What do you guys think?
I think. Go ahead, Lake.
I don't see why anyone wouldn't like it. I mean, it looks like they're trying to, utilize space better, add some more unique entertainment options for you, some more interactive options. So I don't see why it's not anything but a plus.
Steve, you got younger kids. This looks like they'd be perfect for it.
I think it's great. Anytime they're not adding a paid experience in a space that you're going to be able to access for free, where it's costing them money to operate and staff and facilitate, that's great. Like you can't, I like that direction. And I think my kids will appreciate it if they want to do it. Fine. I mean, it's generally a space that is taken up now by basketball courts and like a foosball table that has always kind of struggled to be utilized. And during COVID, they were putting like lounge chairs in there, to social distance, which maybe that should just be permanent. Like, no, I love basketball, and it's nice when you see some like teenagers and stuff out there just like hanging out playing ball. But for the most part, you really don't want to have a lot of unused space on the ship, right? So if this is the direction, like, let's figure out what to do with the sports deck kind of deal. Awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't stick, and it's easy enough to change up too, as far as like, maybe they do it for a couple of years and then they come up with another idea and go beyond that. So I like the idea of at least trying something new, and
Yes,
anything that like is interactive with families and groups of people. I think that's fun, and like you said too, without charging another price point to it.
there's no point of entry to pay as an upcharge, and that's really good, because I think that's just a breakaway from the direction of where the company's going elsewhere. So I've got no complaints. I'm gonna be shutting up. Just like, if it's not for you, it's fine. You weren't going to use that space anyway and play basketball on your 4-night vacation. Don't lie. So yeah, let them do it. And like you said, that's a good point. If it's kind of a space that can be flexible and interchangeable, and you could do an IP overhaul or try something else, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Okay, that I think is going to be most of the news stories. There's probably some other things out there. If anybody else has got something out there that might be watching and wants us to talk about it, we can talk about it. Let's turn to Run Disney. You guys both survived. You're both here. So
Yes.
Both survived the half. I thought it'd be fun. We did that kind of overview with you, Lake, over at Mouse Gen, as far as what to expect for Run Disney weekend. I guess let's just start with you. How did it go? What was your take overall? And did it meet your expectations after kind of being shut down for so long?
Overall, honestly, I was pretty impressed. Yeah, there's a couple little nitpicky things here or there that I certainly could say, they could do better. But for, being the first weekend back, I was impressed. I had a great time, especially the half. The half for me, I thought, was just a really awesome race between the entertainment options, the course, and just some of the different things that they did. I was very impressed with the half for sure. But overall, just a really great weekend.
And Steve, you were over there for the half as well. What was your kind of thoughts going into the race, and then just overall, how was your experience?
Good. I think this is the second wind down I've done. And I'm starting to think this is probably my favorite course. I think going through Animal Kingdom, and you get 3 parks. I mean, if you want to count a parking lot, technically almost 4. But yeah, you get the 3 parking lot experience for the half. I mean, three parking lot, 3 parking experience.
You do get 4 parking lots, actually. You run through every park's parking lot.
There you go. There's definitely some quirks we can get into for me. The couple things. There always are. But I enjoyed the course. I thought the entertainment out there was plentiful. It didn't seem stripped down. And it was very good to be back out there. Sunday, the weather was also great. Friday and Saturday, unfortunately, was a little rough. Definitely felt bad for some folks out there. It was wet. It was cold. It was windy, particularly I think on Saturday. So that was a little rough. But that's not an element, that is a fault, of course, of organizers. But yeah, had a good time. But we can get in some pros and cons if you want.
Let's see. We'll get to that in just a second. Oh, pros and cons. What in what way?
Just of the overall race.
Oh.
I do have some other things.
Okay. Well, let's just start, and we'll just kind of go down the list. And if we don't hit all those pros and cons as we get through, we'll definitely do a pros and cons at the end. How's that?
There you go.
And don't let me forget. All right. Let's start with the expo. Like, how was the expo experience?
I thought the expo experience was very positive. We got there, was that Thursday, but we did not rope drop it. We went, I don't know, maybe around 12:30. So still the first day. As for getting your bib and doing your packet pickup, the online waiver thing was super easy, done beforehand. Now, a lot of people did have issues, and there was, at least in the morning, a pretty significant line for people who had all sorts of issues with online check-in and that sort of thing. We did not experience any of those. The check-in pass that was on your phone was literally just your name and your bib number and your registration. There was no scanning or anything like I thought there might have been. So you just showed them that and your ID, and you still went and you flipped to the page and signed your name by your bib number. They gave you your bib, and then you went to the other building for your t-shirt pickup. T-shirt pickup, pretty much exactly the same. You make your way through the exhibit or the exhibitors, and you go and you pick that up. The official merchandise, we got pretty much everything we wanted. There was some stuff at the expo that we weren't able to get that we did find later at the race finish. That was pretty cool. We were happy about that. But I did hear a lot of people upset about certain merchandise selling out and not being able to get everything, especially if you were there at one of the later days. When we went there Thursday, though, pretty much everything we wanted, save one or two things, we got.
And then, Steve, you went to the expo on Saturday. So a couple days later, how was your experience?
Yeah, I'm a get in, get out guy. I've generally just, I don't do multiple races on those weekends for the most part. I just do like one or generally just a half, although I've done the 10K as well. And it was, digital waiver was easy. You got to go into about 17 buildings just to get all your stuff here for your bit. No, I'm being facetious, but it's as far off as you can get. You used to be able to do it, I think, all in like that one building, right, Lake?
It has changed for different races. It's always been at least 2 buildings,
right?
But I do have, after you're done, I do have a point to make about that, though.
Yeah. But it was seamless for me. I didn't even go in the merch area. I didn't even go. I was rushing. I'm not trying to hate on the merch stuff. I was actually rushing to get to Steakhouse 71. So, and I made it within like a minute of our reservation. So I'm glad I didn't duck in there. And then somehow, I think my wife has like some sort of ESP. She was like, "Don't buy anything and spend all the money." And I was like, "All right, I won't go in."
It's a little mind control on you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, honestly, by that Saturday anyway, I think there's just like slim pickings. It's like the I did it shirts and all that stuff, which are fine. It's just, I don't usually YOLO into the merch too much.
Like, you had a point about the buildings?
Oh, yeah, I just had 2 things. One, for anyone that went to the actual expo, which you had to do to pick up your shirt, I did think that the amount of vendors was super scaled back. There was basically no one on the sides. They did put up some like picture ops back there, but really scaled back as for the amount of different vendors. A lot of those smaller vendors, I think, are getting either priced out or just knocked out of there. So I do hope that changes. I would love to see some more, especially if you are a guy. There's not a lot of guys merchandise. And even like, I feel like you used to be able to find, pretty much any pair of shoes there. If there's something you wanted to try, I wanted to try on a pair of Mach 4s. Couldn't find a pair.
Oh, Fit to Run didn't have it?
No, they didn't.
Fit to Run had a pretty substantial space in there still. And I didn't realize that they're back in Disney Springs. I had no idea until after the race. Because they had left their old store in Disney Springs, and now they're back. And that's a good thing, because if you're here on vacation and if you forget something, you really need that stuff. Obviously, I mean, if you forget a part of your race kit, maybe your shoes aren't, whatever. People had a lot of wet items this weekend. Maybe weren't prepared for multiple pairs of socks, which you need to be comfortable during these events, no matter how hard or easy you're taking it. It's very easy to get a blister when you got wet socks. It's sometimes not hard to kind of hurt yourself a little bit. Hello. So get your KT tape. But KT tape was there. The aftershocks were there. Fit to Run was there. I think some of the Sparkle Run, like you said, the sort of things that are geared towards female clothing, I think had a presence. I think of course that stuff sells pretty well, like the skirts and stuff like that. But not a ton. I bought a gel and some extra Body Glide, I think, before I left. I spent like $7 in the expo and just darted out of there. But it was definitely scaled back.
Well, let's turn to the
I do
races.
have one
Go
more
ahead.
thing real quick.
Yeah.
I do just want to point out, we were talking about the different buildings. Uh, Obviously, I was a pretty big hater on Club Run Disney, but this was the first time that, they got to see their presence. And something cool that they did was their check-in and their shirt pickup and all of that was in their lounge, which was like up the stairs in the expo building, or not the expo, the main merchandise building. So the first merchandise building. So they
Ah,
only had to go to their one building, and then, I'm sure they got their first access to merchandise and stuff, but they only had to go to that one spot. And I thought that was pretty cool. Just someone had actually stopped by to say hi to us, and they told us about it. I was like, oh, thanks for
yeah.
sharing that. That was good to know.
Like, do you know if that was only for Thursday though?
I have no clue.
Because I didn't see really anything Club Run. Now, again, I wasn't really looking too hard and I didn't go in the merch building, but I would imagine that I do know based on someone's social media post that Club Run Disney had first dibs on merchandise.
Yeah.
So obviously the benefit of joining that would be predicated on the fact that you can get there that morning,
Yes.
right?
Very true.
Because or else the only shortcut and convenience would be that you get your bib in one bill. Like that's it. If merch is important to you, then you missed out. So interesting. We'll see how that evolves, but still not joining. But hey,
Let's turn to the 5K. Like you and Katie ran that first race back. What was that like for Run Disney to kind of kick off that 5K and to be out there running again?
Yeah, this was Katie and I's first 5K. We've never done any of the Run Disney 5Ks. And it was a lot of fun. We did it together. We totally just chilled. They're not super strict about like your pacing or anything for the most part. I'm sure if you were really diddle dallying, they would try to hurry you along. But we kind of just did like some run walking together. Took some pictures and stuff and just enjoyed it. It was cold and rainy. We wore ponchos literally up to race start. But it was just fun to be back and be, part of that first race back. It was really exciting. People were excited to be there. I think some people were a little bit disappointed because of the rain kind of getting harder and softer throughout the race. Some characters weren't always out. We saw, I think, 4 or 5, and there were a couple that other people reported seeing that we just did not. But other than that, it was just exciting to be back.
I think I saw a couple of pictures from that day after you guys finished, and the smiles on your faces was like you could tell that you guys had a really good time. So that's awesome. Is it worth? We don't really have time to cover each one of the different races. So did the corrals kind of work the same for all 3 races? Like since you did all 3.
So they were all switched to start groups, which I think is kind of the big weekend controversy. If there was anything that people were really gonna con or bash on. So they basically made less corrals and called them start groups. And then within those start groups, split you up into smaller waves.
So
Go ahead.
So kind of walk us through what was that experience. So so if somebody was taking the bus from their resort and they get to, let's just get to the Magic Kingdom parking lot where it started. So how did it kind of go from there? Did everybody kind of gather together and then they sent you off in different groups or waves, or how did that work?
No, it was very similar to corrals, honestly. Actually, I think it was more packed than corrals because it was less start groups in a bigger area. So there was more people in there. I don't really understand the change, to be honest. I will note that Katie said she was impressed by the speed at which they were pushing out the wave. She said it was about every 2 minutes, where it used to be about every 4 minutes. But I would rather just see them go back to corrals with less people in them. I don't know. I thought there was way too many people kind of pushed in. However, there was about 3,000 less people at the half marathon compared to past years.
Okay. And Steve, what was your experience?
Katie was in start group 2.
Yes.
So she probably had a little bit more of what I'm baffled about the start groups. I have absolutely, it wasn't a safety protocol thing to me. I don't get it at all. I was previously in I think Corral D, it used to go up to like, I think G for the half. So I'd be right around the middle. I ended up in start group 3, which put me towards like the back of, I ended up in like the front of one of the mini waves, which was cool. So I got to be right at the front for the first time, right at the tape. But man, it was congested. I couldn't tell you that there was 3,000 less people out there between the constructions and the bottlenecks that were set up and a couple of the hairpin turns out there. I expended, I usually like, so I looked at my GPS and I was like 13.63 miles. So that generally happens to me during these races. You know, you're zigzagging, you're not running the point to point line. And, you know, you're going off to get water. Maybe you're a person that goes off and get characters. So you end up doing more. But I expended a lot of energy in the first 5 miles to try to find some daylight. It sucked, to be honest with you. Like for me, let me not use too much hyperbole here. But I had an awesome time, but I felt such relief when I got to Animal Kingdom. Not only because you started to see, you know, that's my favorite place to run in, but there was getting a little bit open here and there in Pandora and places, and then it opened up really good after Animal Kingdom. But that's already almost halfway through at that point. You know, I didn't start to find daylight until we got on the road, where you felt like, okay, I can like run a straight line here and not have to be dodging people. And it did also feel like, how do I put this diplomatically? There were less like organized pace groups, I felt. Like less like of the Galloway run walk and more of like the informal ones. And usually when you're doing these, my advice to you, if pardon my arrogance perhaps, is if you're going to walk, stay a little bit over to the right, put your hand up before you're going to stop, because you could kill somebody if you just stop in the middle of nowhere and like really they have to get around you and get hurt. And you see a lot of people going up on the grass. There was a lot more of that than I remember, where people were just like all over the place there. So that felt a little bit different to me being back in that start group. There seemed to be more congestion than usual, considering there was less people. I really hope they go back to breaking it up a little bit more, to be honest with you, and doing more of the conventional corrals, because I just didn't understand this change at all. It's my biggest gripe.
What was Katie's thoughts there, like, or what was your thoughts there?
I mean, I know for Katie, like I said, she was kind of early in start group 2. I'm sorry, she was actually, I think she intentionally went near the back of start group 2, but she said she was expecting that she would start, you know, maybe 40 minutes after me. I started out of the, you know, first wave, the first go. But she said she was already moving and up to the start line like 20 minutes later. So she said she thought they moved quicker, which I think would be a good thing. Again, I don't know what they were trying to implement here. I don't know if they had an idea to maybe do like more of a rolling start style. I feel like with this whole situation, what they could have done was, you know, maybe said, okay, you know, start group 1 can go into their corral or whatever and get them going. And then, you know, maybe get start group 2 and give them actually more space. But at the end of the day, you know, when you're trying to get up to the start line, people are going to push and shove their way to, you know, try to get right up there anyways. So I don't know if it really is ever going to matter for Run Disney per se. So I would prefer just to go back to corrals, or at least, you know, maybe see them further develop this into something a little bit different and a little more well thought out.
Yeah. And I don't know. I have no idea how many Club Run Disney folks run or what their experience was like if they went up into like start group 2.
They were 2.
Yeah, they were 2, right? Club Run.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's why I got kicked down to 3, possibly. I don't know.
The darn bourgeois pushing you back again.
Yeah, and you know, it's been hard the last couple of years, right? Because
Yeah.
you need a proof of time, and I haven't had a race to put in.
Right.
And my goal is just to get a little bit faster, like you guys, and get up to the. I mean, I do think the experience would improve vastly if I could be up towards the front of the earlier start groups. I think that I think that makes a big difference if you can put a proof of time and you do plan on running, to try to run for a little bit of time. Like I think that makes a difference. I started at 5:29:34. I looked. It was my exact start time.
That's not bad for being like start group 3 though.
You can say slow.
I wasn't. No, slow was not by any means. I was trying to think of like, okay, where if you were corral D, what time would you usually start, and how would that compare?
I'm just kidding with you. Like, that's funny. No, I really it's just personal. I really would want to get up to those front corrals one day. And
no, I totally understand what you're saying. When I did my first marathon, it was a Marine Corps marathon back in DC. And there's so many people and just on these narrow streets to start with. It was like mile 18 by the time you got to the mall, where it actually opened up and you could actually get some space. But for the first 18 miles, it was just like wherever you started, you were, because we were going to use so much energy trying to cut back and forth between people. So I just followed this one guy. I remember this t-shirt forever. So
yeah, you do. Did you also see there was like a couple of I don't remember seeing sheriffs on bikes before. Did you see that? Like,
yeah, they've been out.
They've been out before. Okay.
Yeah.
They were like getting around them was like in certain points was tough too. Because I thought I saw like more than usual, but maybe I was just oblivious to that before. But
all right. So let's turn to the course itself. It seems like you said it, Steve, that this is one of your favorite races as far as the course goes. And Lake, you were nodding along as well. And I think that you said that in the past. This is one of your favorite races. What is it about the half for Wine and Dine that makes it great? And whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Steve.
I would say that I feel like there's you're always looking forward to a park to get into. Like, I got through Animal Kingdom. Next up, we got Hollywood Studios, and from Hollywood Studios on in, it just flies. So that's that's obviously going to usually be the toughest part for you if you're like me or anybody that you might be hurting a little bit by that point. And you got about 5K or so left once you get in Hollywood Studios. And you got Hollywood Studios, guests are filing in. You get I do wish there was a little bit more spectators out there too. I really do. God, Disney, please put some spectators out there. I watched the New York City Marathon highlights yesterday, and I was like, we really need a little bit more of that. But yeah, the people that were lining up for Hollywood Studios are cheering you on. The boardwalk is probably the best place to get cheered on. There's a lot of people that are coming out from the hotels and the resorts that are there to cheer. That's like people's probably favorite spot to cheer. And Disney's really limited that too. Like, people used to have a little bit more freedom of like parking over there and spectating and cheering and so on. And I think they've limited that a lot because they've limited a lot of traffic to the resorts big time. And then from there, you're right to Epcot. So like that whole stretch is great. And, for me, usually when I run, I don't start to feel good until like mile 2 or 3. Generally, like it just takes me a little bit to warm up and get going. So by that point, like you're in Animal Kingdom, like right around 4.5, 5. So like there's always a point with, if I could use a comparison, like when you're doing the Walt Disney World half, you're going through Magic Kingdom. It kind of like dies after Magic Kingdom for me. And that's Magic Kingdom going through the castle about mile 6, right? Like for the half.
For the half. So you actually hit 6 right after the Magic Kingdom, because the timing mat is right after you leave.
Yeah.
Kind of heading towards Grand Floridian there. So you actually are done Magic Kingdom before halfway through the race.
Yeah. Yeah. And it would be awesome if they could figure out a way to just like that, if it ended like right outside there, like that's how you ended. Like that would be great, But anyway, yeah. So the course is just awesome, and the stuff they had on it was very entertaining and fun.
Lake, why is this one of your favorite races?
Like he said, I think this is just one of the more interesting courses. I actually love that first like 3 or 4 miles where you're going on those back roads. And I've always thought they've done a really good job kind of making some interesting scenes. They had like this whole villains theme, like props and stuff. And they had
really cool
lasers and like they were smoke-filled bubbles
Yes,
going through.
that was about mile
And
2, I think, right?
yeah, I haven't pulled the footage to see how it turned out, but I'll pull it and I'll put it on your Patreon page after this.
Yeah, I love
But
that.
they've always done cool things, like for Star Wars, because it runs the same course. They would shoot lasers across, and it was like it was the Battle of Endor. You would hear the Ewoks and stuff, and that was always cool. There
And
was
they had
like
the screen up.
explosions. So I always like some of the unique things they come up with back there. And they also had a lot of characters back there too. I think there was probably 4 or 5 different stops along there, if not more, before you even got into Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that's the scene there was awesome. It was probably about the same point that they did that for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they know that like it's very dark in there.
It is,
Like,
yeah.
it's very dark. Like you need to be careful, dark. So they do a good job of trying to get some fun and lights and shows out there to keep you going in those first couple miles. So that's really fun to look forward to what they have, and they'll usually change it up. So that was cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. And then of course you get to go through Animal Kingdom. You get to do a pretty significant like area of Animal Kingdom. You run through every land actually, because you go through Africa, you go through Pandora, you go through by the Tree of Life, you go back around by Everest, and you run Dino Land. So one of the more significant park runs that you get in any of the races. Now, of course, the highway part is really boring, and it's like sneakily elevated. There's really no part where you're running flat because you're going up and over these different overpasses the whole time. So honestly, it's kind of a slog and a grind. Like this was the part of the race where I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like kick it into gear and just try to get through this as fast as I can.
Yeah, this is the part of the race where I was like, I'm not gonna kick it into gear and get my butt kicked. It is neat. If you're like, of course, both of us live in Florida. It's by me, I'm sure by you, almost entirely pancake flat for the most part. So if you're not prepared for a little bit of like a sneaky elevation, it could be hurting the thigh, especially on those downhills. They hurt a little bit. And the ramps, and I hate the ramps, by the way.
I always appreciated the Green Army man that they had out there on Marathon Weekend when you hit that one ramp before you get to Hollywood Studios. So I don't know if he was out there. Was he out there?
Okay. He moved though. He was like after the ramp this time.
Yeah,
he needed to get you up the ramp. So,
like, what's your strategy on those ramps? Do you go on the outside or the inside?
Oh, inside.
You go inside. I couldn't find. I was like, which one's better? It all was like
you're shortest distance.
It's terrible.
Oh yeah,
steeper probably, right?
What's that?
Is it steeper just a little bit on the inside?
Yes,
but
you're
shorter.
so lopsided.
Yeah,
you're super lopsided on those ramps. I mean, it's anyway.
All right. So, any character interactions that were pretty cool that stood out to you guys?
Man, there's some rare ones out there that I couldn't even tell you who they were. Like, may be able to tell you, but I know people were like, "Did you see the donkey?" By the way.
Like the actual donkey by Animal Kingdom. It was a goat for me, but they had
really?
Yes, they had goats, donkeys. They had something else out too. Katie saw something else. They were rotating them out like the whole race.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They did bring out all the stops there. Of course, I saw Jafar. What else? Was the Evil Queen Ursula in the parking lot was cool. They have her on like this motorized thing.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, Ursula was out there in the parking lot, just kind of roaming around. That was really neat.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna list off. First off, the characters were like phenomenal. There were so many good rare ones. It honestly like. I said going in, I was like, oh, villain's theme. That's okay. And then I was like, oh, I've never seen this character before. Oh, look at that character. Oh, I'm going to get my picture of this one. So I've got my pictures up. There was Kronk, King Louie, Bowler Hat Guy.
That's right, King Louie and Bowler Hat.
There was Hades, Pain and Panic, which actually just popped up for me. I hadn't seen that one yet. The King and the Sheriff of Nottingham from... what's it called? Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw my post, but when Katie was running by the Sheriff of Nottingham, he's holding a coin bag, and another runner pointed to him and yelled out, and he goes, "Look, it's Bob Chapek."
Oh. That's fantastic.
Oh man.
Who else? They had the Gravediggers.
I always like those. I heard they had
there
the submarine out there too.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a like a prop at the beginning of the
At the
race.
beginning of the
Yep.
race. Like,
Oh, Cruella, she was out too.
Yes.
so we're kind of getting to the end here. We'll touch on a couple more things. How was the after race kind of activities? Did they have the beer garden set up and then the ability to
All
go?
set up.
Yeah, be able to go.
Pretty normal, honestly.
take
The whole
pictures and
finish
stuff.
process was the same.
That beer
Okay.
that I bought was the best beer ever, though. I don't know why. That tasted that post-race beer is the best.
It's
So
all
good.
those
That was
carbs
fun.
right at the end.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? Like it was really great meeting your wife yesterday, and obviously met you briefly before. But the whole thing, like the finish line and being around everybody, it was like being around. We had a nice group of people. I think you met some of the people that it was really, that was like, oh, I get it. And I'll say this too. I think a lot of people do this as a tradition. Obviously, I think we're going to see each other for the Walt Disney World half. And it's like so much of this is like, this is the muse for people to just get together. Like this is their community. You know, they train and check in with each other. And it's just weeks of this buildup. And it's not just like a weekend and like a one and done thing where you're just like, okay, let's go to the park. Let's meet up, bring the families. This is like an opportunity to have and it also is like uniquely sort of adult in that way too. Like it's just like friends that are out meeting each other to do these weekends. So I really appreciated that part of things. It was really great meeting up with people. Although just a tidbit that I want to add to, race started at 5. I was on the bus at 2:30, 2:40. Excuse me. That was the first bus. It's a half an hour earlier. We're trending in the wrong direction here. We're trending in the wrong direction, folks.
That won't change. I'm doubtful.
Oh, man. Brutal, Steve. Just wait. I remember you're almost late to the last event, right? You were stuck in traffic.
Oh, yeah, we were stuck in traffic. That was a bus. Yeah, we have a choice on that one, unfortunately. Yeah, especially coming from the West Coast. Like it's like literally you're getting up at like midnight. Like trying to go to bed at like 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock your time and then getting up at midnight. But for one day, it's not too bad. But like, I think you kind of feel the same way about Run Disney as far as like the community that you've built and being able to spend that time afterwards with people that you've kind of known over the years and got to meet.
Yeah. Funny enough, at this event, there wasn't like a whole lot of the people that I usually see, but there still was some. And there were some people too who maybe I didn't see in the crowds, but like, we were running the race and someone was running by. I was like, oh, it's so great to see you. Like would stop and run with them for a second and then carry on our way. So it really was just great to, be back, see everyone, and everyone is so excited about the same thing, being back and running. And because of that, yeah, we can complain about start groups. I have a couple other very small gripes about it, but overall, I thought it was a fantastic weekend. Like 2 thumbs up, especially like I said, the half like impressed me so much. I had a blast.
Agreed. Yeah, ditto for sure.
Anything else you guys want to talk about or get out there before we finish up tonight as far as Run Disney goes then? Any advice for people that might be preparing for marathon weekend?
Train well, keep healthy. It's weird setting an alarm when it's daylight savings time for Wine and Dine weekend. We literally set a timer from the time that we'd like, instead of an alarm, to try to, because if you set your alarm at like 1:59, it would roll back. It would roll back at that point. Yeah.
I think I've told this story before, but we did Wine and Dine with a group of friends many years ago, my first Wine and Dine, and we were actually camping. We stayed in tents for it, and our friend woke us up an hour early, like got out of his tent, and we were all just like, go back to bed.
Brutal. We should do one of these times. I'd like to document, like, it doesn't have to be weekly, but it'd be good to just do like a training build up to the event, like a sort of a series. Cause I think there's a lot of stuff to learn along the way. Like there's food trucks out there in the morning, and I certainly have learned in my very, very brief time running that don't put anything foreign into your body the morning that you're going to get out there. Okay. You don't want to be like a lot of the folks that just had to run into the woods in the first half mile. And let's say perhaps it wasn't for number one. Like, just maybe if you have a sensitive stomach, like just don't like eat too much of the plastic cheese the day before from the Mickey pretzel. You're going to go out and run, so things like that would be fun to touch on.
Well, I guess before we get out of here, Lake, I know you're going to put a lot of videos up over on your channel. If people want to connect with you and if they haven't already done so, where can they follow you guys, you and Katie along? You guys do some great videos, not only at Run Disney, but a lot of Disney Cruise Line stuff as well.
Yeah, I actually took so much video that I had to go and order another hard drive for my computer. I kid you not.
Oh,
wow. I was like, I need to overnight something because I can't export everything. But yeah, we will have a ton of videos coming out from this. I already mentioned I'll post some stuff in the Patreon group for you guys tonight, just some sneak peek. But you can find us at YouTube at MouseGen. That's MOUSEGEN. That is where we post all of our main content. We are also on Facebook at MouseGen and then Instagram, mouse.gen. We do have actually highlights up from the whole weekend. We were doing stories the whole weekend. I do apologize about anything that posted upside down. That was an issue with Instagram this weekend, and it was very annoying. But yeah, you can find us at all of those fun places.
Well, thanks again for jumping on last minute to do this. I thought it'd be fun to talk about your guys' experiences with Run Disney. I hope everybody enjoyed it today. Steve, I'll give you the last word. Any final thoughts? Disney Cruise Line, Run Disney, Sheriff of Nottingham. Any final thoughts there?
No, Lake killed it. He had a great weekend. He stayed at a bunch of different places. They ate at a couple of different restaurants, went to the post-race party. Like, I feel like you guys did it up. So follow along with him. I'm looking forward to what you put out there. And all the fun things that you guys did together. So that'll be fun to watch.
All right. Well, cheers, guys. Thanks for doing this tonight. It's always fun to connect. We should do it more often. We go. Winding down weekend. Thanks again for jumping on with us tonight. Thanks for everybody who took the time to listen. And we'll see you next week or next month as we recap some more Disney Cruise Line stories. And we'll look for some Run Disney stuff in January, I guess, when Marathon Weekend kicks off, the next event, right? Like
2 months.
Like
2 months
7
from
weeks,
today.
yeah.
2 months. And I think we're going to try and do some type of meetup down there. Stay tuned. We'll get that out once we figure out a place for sure. Steve?
You're taking us to Victoria and Albert's.
Yes, Victoria and Albert's. Yes.
I don't know if I want to eat there the weekend that I'm running.
If someone else is paying, I'll do it.
I guess you're right. You got me there.
Yeah, Steve was talking about don't put something foreign in your body, and then he's going to do like a 17-course meal the night before the half marathon or the marathon. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming and taking a listen, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. And make sure you go over and follow Lake and Katie over at MouseGen. Just it's amazing. A lot of great videos over there. So cheers, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.